Right, welcome back to Gunpar's Workshop. I'm Loz, but you probably knew that. It's been a couple of weeks. What have I been up to? Have you missed me? But you haven't. Anyway, 2 weeks, had to take a bit of a break. Week before last, it was a load of hospital visits for Nana Sue and myself over various days, and in the days we weren't there, we were so knackered, but the weather was nice, so we just sat out and enjoyed the sun. That was nice. Last week, I spent the whole week doing absolutely nothing because somebody indoors decided we were doing some spring cleaning in the bedroom, and I put me back out flipping mattresses. You know how it is when you get an old codger. But I'm slowly getting my mobility back. The good news is the first week, as well as the hospital visits, we managed to get to the garden centre, and I've been doing some window shopping for what we're doing over the summer. So that was good, and I managed to take her out for a lunch that wasn't the hospital canteen at the garden centre. That was nice. That was my all-day breakfast, and that was Nana Sue enjoying her normal-sized breakfast. So that was a good day out. In the workshop, everything's at a standstill. It feels as though I'm a bit like the Red Queen's race. You know, you have to run twice as fast just to stop on the spot. There is a gap in the workshop. I need a lot more than a gap, but there is a gap over there. I'll show you a bit. Something's missing. It's the old pillar drill, the old big blue work zone pillar drill. I've been trying to set myself up to batch out some bigger craft projects, and the drill was getting on my wick. I nearly said something else then. Getting on my wick with the Forstner bits. So I've oh, and that's another thing. You do know the little wheeze that whenever you look at something online, if you go on the site and you keep looking at the same stuff, the price tends to go up. So if you're looking for the various, say, holidays, you're looking for a holiday and you're doing lots of things, the prices tend to creep up because the algorithm knows you're looking for a holiday. The wizard wheeze my number one son gave me is go on and come off, then go and look for the same thing again the next day, and then come off, and then go and look for the same thing the next day and come off. And then the algorithm realises you're shooing for that particular product, and it might pop you a little discount, which has happened for this. Thanks, Peter from the Small Shed. You turned me head on the new Bosch digital drill, which solves all my problems of a decent sized what do you call it, table, decent sized table, and digital control of the speed, because the old one was always at the wrong speed, and I was such a lazy arse I couldn't be bothered changing the bands, and I never mastered that. Anyway, that drill has gone for a semi-retirement next door but one. I've got a very nice neighbour who's bricklayer, general contractor. I noticed a couple of months back he had his garage door open and he's putting in a bit of a workshop in one half of his double garage. So the little baby bandsaw found a new home, and now that pillar drill's found a new home, and he's very chuffed with it, and I've got my new toy to play with. That won't be an unboxing, but you'll see it working. Right, so there's that. Might happen, might not. In terms of, feedback. I mentioned I was batching out, and I've done a prototype, and now I've created some templates for drawing around and drilling the starter holes in for cutting that pattern out on the bandsaw. Due to the feedback from yourselves after showing you that, I've been given a good steer on what size of new Forstner bit to get. It's a 42mm. Thanks guys, several of you pointed it out, that these come in several sizes, but a 42mm and there's a standard size for the inserts. You gave me a good steer on those. They're the little steel inserts, but once you drill the hole, they go in the wood, and it's to stop the candle burning your stand. So I'm pleased with that, and I'm going to get on with that shortly. The only other thing that I've managed to get through is, do you remember a while back, where is it? I had an idea, especially for the coming winter months. I'm opening it off camera. I wanted to do a bit of small woodworking, a bit of carving and whittling for the winter months, so I can sit with a blanket on my knee and do a bit of chip carving when I can't be bothered coming out of the workshop. So I got myself a little whittling knife. I showed you this. This has got 3 blades. It's the Rough Rider Classic Carbon 2 with a carbon steel blade. Now, I'm not a knife person, as you might gather. But I have had my head turned by watching quite a number of YouTube knife sites about the little treasure trove that is in both modern and traditional pocket knives. And of course in the UK they have to be slip knives. You remember I made the mistake, where is it? Last year when I was hankering after a festool, and I got myself a nice festool knife with an olive wood handle, and I love that, but it's a lock knife, so it can be in my toolbox, but I can't have it in my pocket out and about. Why can't I have it in my pocket out and about? Because I'm forgetful and I'm never sure whether what I've got in my pocket is UK legal. You remember last summer I was whinging that I could never find the craft knives or a screwdriver to open a tin or open a bottle of beer, and I got myself a little Gerber which has a standard mini craft knife blade. It's got the lanyard, it's got a nail puller, a can opener and little flat screwdrivers. That was marvellous, and that was in my pocket for quite a bit. Always on hand, because when I'm opening parcels I don't have to go and root out after stuff. Then some bright spark reminded me that the blade may be less than 3 inches, but even something like that is illegal for pocket carry in the UK. So I was looking for... You can see where I'm going. I'm not a knife channel, I promise. But, where is it? Oh, it's in my pocket. So that has now been relegated to the key stand in the hall. So I've always got something to open parcels in the hall. And I still love that, but I don't know if I told you. What I have in my, you see, in my gentleman's pockets all the time now is a little Stanley Powerlock tape measure, 3 foot, it's only an Imperial, and I've been given the sack. That's the little Swiss Army Victorinox Manager, because not only has it got a little pen blade, it's got a nail file, it's got scissors, it has a little pen. And the first day I had it in my pocket, gave myself a splinter, so that came in handy. So I've always been dubious about having everyday carry, something in your pocket that solves every problem. A, because I found that utility tools like utility knives and utility pliers, these too are illegal to carry around unless you're a tradesman and they're in your toolbox. And if they're in your toolbox, why do you need them? Why don't you have the proper tool? For instance, one knife I have had probably for longer than some of you have been on the planet, is my little pruning knife, which I picked up. Very simple, and it's a Rogers Sheffield knife. 30 odd years old I've had this. Nice wooden handle, bit of a sway back and a proper hawk pruning blade for pruning. But then got this from RHS Whittling, I think, when we were visiting in-laws. But then I found that once I bought those ballerina trees, I wasn't doing any bud grafting or ordinary, root grafting or anything like that. I didn't need it. It's had very little use, but it's a lovely knife. But again, underused, because for the normal pruning, I use a pair of secateurs. Even the, see, I do like the gadgets. Even the pocket secateurs. Why? If I'm going to do a job, it's in the garden, it's 2 minutes away, get a proper secateurs out of the shed. Of course, I can never remember where I put stuff, but that's another problem, isn't it? Right, so I'm just waffling on about that. So the past few weeks, LTW, thanks mate, I'd seen something and I mentioned it, and he said he always had one of these in his pocket. He had several. It's a Whitby, English brand, although I think they are made in China. It's commissioned in England. This one. Now I wanted this for a couple of months, but they were all out of stock. This would probably be my EDC for a roundabout. It's a slip joint. It's got a small blade for opening parcels and envelopes. It has a flathead screwdriver come lanyard loop that I can also use for opening little tins. And if I didn't have that, that's going to be in my pocket off and on again. And then if I forget and I go out in it, I'm not risking having my collar felt by the boys in blue. Very pleased with that. As I said with the back on track, as I said with the Rough Rider Classic Carbon, that's the Seahorse Whittler. Love the shape, love the details. It's not an expensive knife. People are always moaning about them, but I think the Classic Carbon and the Classic Carbon 2 are a good pocket money pocket knife. And I was going to, as I say, just get one a month, because they have a full range of all these traditional knives. Traditional knives that go back hundreds of years, each one a specialist knife in shape, and set up with different shapes of blades for different functions. There's trappers, there's skinners, there's moose, there's canoe, there's all sorts. And I thought, that's the style. I love the black, I love the blue inserts, I love the carbon, I love the micarta, I love the shield. Marvellous. I was going to do that. And then, of course, because of Anthony, Paddy's Potato Pickers, in case you're watching, Anthony, it's all your fault, and I blame you. I got a subscription to Heine Haynes, just so I could pick up one of the Classic Carbons every month. And then Heine sent me a picture of a modern traditional, and I went, ooh, I'm having that again. Look at that. I won't go on about the shapes of the blades, but that's another Warncliffe. That's a longer one, and it's very sticky, and it feels just nice. A couple of people have moaned, where is it, about the quality of finish on that nick there. There's very few reviews on it, but that's marvellous. I love the anodised aluminium in black and electric blue. So that's a modern traditional, but I'm not going to have my head turned. That was nice, and I just bought it on impulse. Then, now here's a warning for all, where's it gone? Oh yeah, all your other nascent knife collectors. On the website, there was a little Rough Rider 4-blade purple scale whittler. So I thought, oh, it's got all the different blades on. Marvellous, I'll have that. And it's only £7. And that puts me over the limit and I get free postage. So when I got this in this box, I got the other one in another box. So can you see what I did? I didn't check the stats first. So this marvellous little 4-blade whittler is just that big. And I could only ever get 3 of the blades open because I keep sticking myself trying to pull the 4th because it's got a very small, I mean, that's just a novelty, isn't it? But I do like the purple colour. So that's me. As I say, I'm not going to be, you know, a cutting board and hands knife thing, but I thought I'd keep you up to date on that. There might be a little show and tell once in a while, but otherwise, the big job for me over the rest of the month is clearing out the garage. I'm going to get me pillar drill set up and I'm going to tidy up all this rubbish. I promise. What can you do? What can you do? As soon as my back's fully better and I can actually reach down to the floor or sideways, I'm going to clear it out, and then we'll have a workshop show and tell for 2022 and a plan for going forward. That's far too long. I'll leave that with you, but I do like chatting to you. I'm off for my cup of tea. You crack on.